rapidly becoming a regular here in the Amnesty Morning program. He's on radio, TV, writes newspaper columns, appears everywhere. And I don't know how we discovered him. I think Bernie did. So I'm on MSNBC or something. Carl Jeffers, who's here with us at the Rainbow Studio in New York. Good morning, Mr. Jeffers.
Good morning, Don, and it's great to be here. And since it's my first time with you this year, Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year to you. I asked you if we had seen you since the New Year. So we were talking off the air about, so we know definitely who Stevie Patterson is going to name.
Not only that, it's a clear signal that perhaps one of the problems with the Caroline Kennedy nomination was the fact that there may have been some real issues in the re-election campaign she would have had to run in 2 years, in 2010, because what he in fact did was to pick a female and also a Democrat, but she's a conservative Democrat from upstate New York. And it was clear that there was a concern about not having enough balance on that ticket 2 years from now. And this may be his answer to that. A female woman, she's a member of the NRA, very reserved about gay rights support. In other words, issues that appeal to upstate voters and conservatives upstate. And frankly, they will need that kind of support.
You think he was going to go that way anyway, or no?
Well, all of the information that I have was that that there is a possibility that this was all set up. That in fact he had in fact decided that as much as he liked Caroline Kennedy, that she was not the best political choice. Because as Tip O'Neill said, in the end, all politics is local. And he was looking down the road 2 years from now. And if in fact it was not going to be her, I think out of respect to her and to the closeness of the family and the relationships, he gave her the opportunity to pull out first, to say that for personal reasons she was withdrawing. And that was an opportunity to save face, to perhaps be gracious to her, and then allow him to make a choice that politically could be sustainable.
Yeah, but if he knew this, why let it go this far?
Well, I don't think it may not have been that it had been done that far ago. I mean, it could have been in the past week.
Right.
And he could have just let her know a couple of days ago. And then, in fact, the shorter period of time between him making the decision and letting her know, the more likelihood would be that that scenario could have played out. If there had been too much time, somebody would have found out, it would have been leaked, and then it would have not have been able to work.
It doesn't seem to me like he, one, knows what he's doing, and his staff seems incompetent.
Well, I'm not here enough on the East Coast to evaluate what Governor Patterson's doing on a day-to-day basis to be part of the local critics. He, on a national basis, he's getting good PR, and he is getting good PR on a national basis. But in New York, that doesn't mean anything if locally they're unhappy.
All politics is
with
local.
What you're doing, because all politics is local, as I say, and that will come back to haunt you if you don't remember that when you're in office.
21 till the hour, talking with Carl Jeffers here on the I Miss the Morning program. Well, so do you think any of these? I mean, what happened to Caroline Kennedy? Mike Barnacle made this point last hour, and that was, here you have one of the more revered figures in American life, from obviously a revered family, who allowed herself to be put in much, like, I never thought Sarah Palin was an idiot or stupid, but I thought she was horribly naive and ill-prepared by her own sense of what's appropriate and how to handle stuff, and by the people around McCain and other people, to be thrust into the national spotlight without having something. Nobody should have ever set her down with Charles Gibson or
Katie Couric
or any of those people.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to Caroline Kennedy. I mean, with all of the resources she had to draw on in terms of smart people around her uncle and just people associated with the Kennedy family for decades. I mean, one of her good friends is Esther Newberg, who's the literary agent who's brilliant. So somebody could have told her, you know, you can't do an interview and say 200 times, and you have to have some. You have to have some clear, concise reason that you can articulate of why you want to do this.
Well, you know, the part actually surprised me, because that is something that is characteristic of a younger generation. But Caroline Kennedy has long since passed that age cutoff in terms of that generation.
That's not necessary,
you know, my point is very clear.
Yes.
That with the people who say you know all the time, typically are under 30, and they frankly have grown up in that environment, coming from the Brady Bunch kind of thing.
Sure.
Caroline Kennedy at 50 clearly is past that. And given the level of education that she's had in her lifetime, even if she was in that age group, the younger age group, you would expect her to be able to live up to a higher standard of expectations. And Sarah Palin had no level of expectations to live up to. Right. No one knew exactly what to expect. So whatever image Sarah Palin projected, that was going to be her image. And unfortunately, she didn't project one that helped her a great deal.
Got 2 or 3 minutes here left.
Sure.
President Obama so far.
Oh, I would have nothing but absolute praise for President Obama so far. And not only so far as president, I would go back to after he was elected till now. I think that his handling of the transition was flawless, impeccable, without question. And I think it won over so many voters that he now goes into his presidency with a mandate that even goes beyond the 7-point margin of victory that he had in the election. And Don, I would point out to our viewers and listeners that prior to Barack Obama, the highest percentage of approval that a new president had going into office was Dwight Eisenhower in his first term. He was a war hero only a few years after World War II. Dwight Eisenhower went into office in 1953 with a 58% approval rating on the American people. No other president has gone into office with that higher rating except for Barack Obama, and that gives you some measurement of where Barack is. Dwight Eisenhower had 58%. That was the highest. Barack Obama has a 72% approval rating going into office.
That's stupid.
Some of that is not from the base of his support.
All right.
Some of that is supporters that he has won over because of how he has handled the transition.
That's from people like me who didn't vote for him.
Exactly, and that is a strong mandate when you're trying to essentially initiate some of the most aggressive and widespread changes that we've ever seen in history.
As an African American, you probably get tired of being asked this question, but I'll ask you because I haven't asked it. What did you feel like on Inauguration Day?
Well, you know, because of the fact that I'm being asked this question by you, I'll share this with you because I have not shared it on the air, and I've done so many interviews about this. You know, early on in the campaign, I supported Hillary Clinton, not because I didn't like Barack Obama, but because I felt she was the strongest candidate to win in November. And I still believe, by the way, I think entirely vindicated, that without the September 15th economic implosion weekend crisis, John McCain was going to win. He had all of the poll numbers. And the reason was very simple. The election before September 15th was a referendum on Barack Obama. After September 15th, the election was a referendum on George Bush and on John McCain, and even people who did not feel comfortable voting for Barack Obama because of race felt, well, you know what? If he can help me keep my job, get my home back, I'll set race aside and put him in there. Now that he's in, there's no question that I feel that he has, in fact, got the potential to be a great president. When he won the election, I did not cry, didn't have any emotion, and all of the black commentators were crying. On election day, when he won, when he got the Democratic nomination, I did not cry. When he took the oath of office, I had tears in my eyes because it was that prideful a moment. And I think what we're looking at, Don, is of all of the great things that he can accomplish, I think that the one thing that will happen over the next 1 to 2 years, and this is a phrase that I have coined, I think we're entering a new era of the expectation of inclusion. And because of that, I think people will expect now that people of all types and backgrounds will be included. And this is my phrase that I've coined.
Yeah, but have you trademarked it?
No, I haven't trademarked it. If someone wants to steal it, that's fine. You know, I mean, that's the way it works.
Consider it gone.
But
that's
it is
a great phrase.
But, and
the
think
expectation of inclusion.
And here's why I say expectation. Think of what happened. You had in his inaugural address, the first time ever the word Muslim was used. At the National Prayer Conference, the first time a woman was chosen to do the ceremony. But Michelle Obama's, the swearing-in dress designed by a Cuban American. The evening gown designed by a Chinese American.
Oh, no, you're right.
You know, and when you think of all that, what's going to happen is in the next 2 years, corporate America, we will expect that when corporations introduce their new management team, we'll just expect that there will be African Americans, there'll be women, there'll be members of other groups. Wow. And I think that's what we can look forward to, and that's something that he can leave behind as a legacy that will be hard to match in the future.
Great phrase. You look great this morning. Charles and I both told you look handsome.
Well, it's delightful
I love
to
that
hear
shirt and tie and stuff, and it's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Well, great.
And plus, we always learn something. Plus, we're always amazed how you can just talk extemporaneously about anything forever. and by the way,
I guess the operative word is forever.
no, and do it with some degree of eloquence. And obviously, I'm not patronizing you. So we love having you on, and good for Bernie for discovering it.
Well, Don, it's a great pleasure to be here and join you guys.
Carl Jeffers here on the I'm This Morning program, 12 minutes to the hour.